Welcome to Olympus Knowledge. Today we're talking about muscles of the head. We'll go through the muscles of the face, muscles, the temporal muscles, and muscles of mastication, which is for chewing. So in this video, you expect us to talk about all muscles of the facial expression, also called mimic muscles, and also for masticatory. Okay, as you can see, we have the charts and also the score. We have the charts of the facial muscles, and we have the chart for the mastication muscles. And here is the score, which we use to show some of the muscles where they insert and where they originate from also. Okay, so starting from the first muscle, we have the occipitofrontal muscle. This muscle originates from the posterior part of the occipital bone and moves forward to the frontal bone above the orbit. This is the orbit, so above the orbit, this is where it inserts. It comes all the way from the posterior part of the occipital bone. Our next muscle is the orbicularis oculi. It has two parts, the orbital and the palpebrae. Palpebrae in Latin means eyelid. So the function of the orbital part, it helps for movement of the eyebrows. The muscle orbicularis oculi of the palpebrae part, it also helps to close the eyelids, also helps for eyebrow movements, which is the eyebrow movement located here. The next part is the nasal muscles. We have the musculus nasalis. This muscle originates from the medial process of the nasal bone, and it inserts into the lateral area of the wing of the nose. This is the wing of the nose, called ala in Latin. So this is the insertion. It helps for movement of the nose. The next muscle is the buccinator muscle. This muscle originates from the alveolar process of the maxilla and inserts into the lip angle. This is the lip. So the angle of the lip is the insertion. Buccinator muscle. This muscle allows pressure increase in the oral cavity. It helps for chewing also. The next muscle is the orbicularis oris muscle. This is the orbicularis oris muscle. It originates from the lateral to the angle of the mouth. This is the lateral angle of the mouth round the lips. Lateral to lateral originates here, also this also. So this is the orbicularis oris muscle. It helps for movement of the lips, cheeks, and chin skin. Sorry. It helps for the movement of the lips, cheek, and the skin of the chin. The next muscle is depressor labii inferius. This is the depressor labii inferior muscle. It is originated from the base of the mandible. In this chart, we can find the mandible here. This is the base of the mandible. So it originates from the base of the mandible and moves towards the lower lip. So in this chart, you can see this is the musculus depressor labii inferior, originates from the base of the mandible towards the inferior part of the lip, the lower lip. Then we have the musculus mentalis. This is the musculus mentalis. It originates from the alveolar eminence of the lower lateral incisor and inserts into the skin of the chin. So this is the musculus mentalis. So this is the musculus mentalis. Also here you have the musculus mentalis on both sides. Musculus depressor labii inferior, musculus depressor labii inferior, musculus buccinator, also here, musculus buccinator. Then we move on to the depressor anguli oris muscle. This is the depressor anguli oris muscle. Also here you can find it also, depressor anguli oris muscle. This is the mandible, this is the base. It originates below this part, is called the mental foramen. Mental foramen. So it originates below the mental foramen, and it sets into also the lower lip, but now at the angle of the lower lip. So musculus depressor anguli oris, it inserts in the lips and the mouth angle. The angle here also, the angle. Now we have the musculus risorius. It originates from the paratidomasseteric fascia, that is the parotid gland area, and inserts into the upper lip and mouth angle. So this is the muscle. Here also you can find the muscle. Inserts into the upper lip and the mouth angle. Now we go onto the musculus zygomatic major muscle. This is the musculus zygomaticus major. It originates from the zygomatic bone. This is the zygomatic bone. Also here you can find the zygomatic bone. So it originates from the zygomatic bone and inserts into the angle of the mouth. So we have the muscle here. Zygomatic bone is around this area, origin, and inserts into the angle of the mouth. It also helps to move the lips, the cheeks, and also the skin of the chin. Above it you have the musculus zygomatic minor. Here you have the major. Above you have the minor. The minor also originates from the zygomatic bone. Here also zygomatic bone, and it inserts into the labii superior, the superior lip. You see the muscle here, it inserts into the superior lip, also here to the superior lip. So the major goes from the zygomatic bone to the angle of the lip. The minor goes from the zygomatic bone to the superior lip. Okay, now we talk about the musculus levator labii superior ala nasal. This is the muscle here located. It originates from the frontal process of the nasal bone here. It inserts into the wings of the nose on both sides. You can have the muscle here also. And also inserts into the superior lip. So the muscle goes all the way down from this process of the nasal bone down to the superior lip. So in general, we have seen the occipitofrontal muscle, the musculus orbicularis oculi, orbital part, and the palpebral part. We have seen the buccinator muscle on both sides here also. We have seen the zygomatic minor, zygomatic major. You have seen the risorius, buccinator. This is the orbicularis oris muscle around the lip. This is the depressor anguli muscle of the lip. This is the depressor muscle of the lip. This is the musculus mentalis. And this is the levator muscle of the lip. Okay, we have gone through the muscles of the face. It's very easy function. In the oblique area, the muscles helps to move the eyebrow, the eyelid. In the mouth region, it helps to move the lips, the chin, the skin of the surrounding of the mouth. And next we have the muscles of the nasal region, the musculus nasalis, which helps to move the nose. Now we are moving on to the muscles of mastication. Muscles of mastication, the temporal muscle, masseter muscles, and the pterygoid muscle, medial and lateral. Okay, this is also the masseteric muscle. Starting, we talk about the temporal muscle, musculus temporalis. It originates from the temporal fossa and inserts into the coronal process of the mandible. It's a process found in the mandible. It originates into the mandible. The next, we talk about the function of this muscle. It helps to elevate the mandible, lifting it upward elevation. Musculus masseteric. This muscle originates from the zygomatic arc. Here in this skull, you can show the zygomatic arc, arcus zygomaticus. It originates from the zygomatic arc and it inserts into the angle or the ramus of the mandible. This is the angle. This is the mandible. The angle, you can see angle of the mandible. This is the angle of the mandible. This is the masseteric muscle. Insertion, origin, insertion. This muscle helps to elevate the mandible to close the mouth. So elevate the mandible for the closure of the mouth. We have the musculus pterygoidus, two of them. We have the medial and the lateral. Musculus pterygoid lateralis. It originates from the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone. Here is the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone and inserts into the condyle of the mandible here. Here is called the condyle of the mandible. So origin is here, insertion is here. Origin is from the pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone and inserts into the condylar process of the mandible. Now talking about the pterygoid medialis. This muscle originates from the medial side of the pterygoid plate. Also, this is pterygoid plate, pterygoid process, pterygoid plate. This is the lateral side. This is the medial part. So, it originates from the medial part of the pterygoid plate. Here, origin medial part of the pterygoid plate, and inserts into the medial angle of the mandible. This is the mandible. This is the medial angle of the mandible. It helps to elevate the jaw and close the mouth. Also, this muscle, the medial and lateral, both have the same function. They help for elevation of the mandible and closing of the mouth. And in general, the function of the lateral pterygoid, it helps to move the jaw in a side-to-side movement. So this is the mandible. It moves the mandible side. Why? Because this is the origin, this is the insertion. When it contracts, the jaw moves sideways and sideways. While the medial helps to close the mouth during chewing. So in general, we have gone through the muscles of the mastication. We have the temporal, masseter, and pterygoid. Temporal elevates the mandible during chewing. The masseteric also helps with the same function, elevates the mandible to close it. The pterygoid, you have the medial and the lateral. The medial also helps to close the mouth. The lateral moves the jaw side to side movements. And lastly, we have also the mastication here also. Same muscles here, same. So I hope you find this video helpful for the muscles of the face and mastication. Thank you for watching.